Student attendance has sparked considerable discussion among school committee members over the past year. Now, initially, data from the state reported Needham's chronic absenteeism rate for the 2023 to 2024 school year was nearly 11%. However, at the school committee meeting on Tuesday, October 15th, Superintendent Dan Gutekunst clarified the state had incomplete data when they arrived at that figure. The actual rate of chronic absenteeism is lower. Despite the correction, district leaders acknowledged more work is needed to address student attendance. Municipal producer Yu Xiaoyuan has the report.
Massachusetts defines chronic absenteeism as students missing 10% or more of school days, meaning at least 18 days in the regular school year, whether the absences are excused or unexcused. Updated district data shows a chronic absenteeism rate of 6% across all Needham students, down from 7.6% the previous year. While most student subgroups have improved, absenteeism rates remain much higher for Hispanic and Latino students at 14% and for both English learners and low-income students at 19%. At the high school level, chronic absenteeism has also dropped slightly to 7.2%. Subgroups showed notable improvements, with the absenteeism rates for English learner students decreasing by 22%. However, rates remain high for African American and special education students, both around 14%, and for low-income students at roughly 21%. School committee member Alyssa Scatchard expressed concerns about the factors contributing to chronic absenteeism at the high school, noting 7.2% of the total high school population represents over 120 students.
Not that any of this is easily tackleable, but the things that are likely to, if we put the effort in to address them, they will be resolved versus the things that are a little more intractable.
Director of Health Services Susanna Han responded with a rough estimate that around 20% of the chronically absent students were affected by COVID-19 quarantine policies, though a more detailed breakdown would require further analysis of the new data. Earlier in her presentation, she mentioned, with the mandate isolation policies ending last April, the district is now positioned to investigate the underlying causes behind these numbers.
The new data and the subgroup breakdown, we can look more closely at the potential reasons and start to address chronic absenteeism at the barrier level and get participation with families and a partnership with families and schools doing that.
Committee member Matt Spangler expressed concern about how the disproportionate absenteeism rates among certain student subgroups may be impacting their academic performance.
We have our low-income students 3 times the rate as our white students for chronic absenteeism. Black, Hispanic, special education, ELL are double the rate for white students.
Under the current attendance policy, students who accumulate 6 unexcused absences will lose 1 credit. Absences due to illness without a medical note are considered unexcused. Spangler questioned whether this policy disproportionately affects specific subgroups as well. In response, Superintendent Dan Gutekunst stated he plans to provide an update and engage with the committee on potential policy changes in late fall or early winter, recognizing this issue is particularly critical among certain groups.
That number at the high school from last year, 21% of low-income students at the high school were chronically absent. That represents about 27 students. That's a class full of students. That's a lot of students.
He reassured the committee that identifying effective support strategies for chronic absenteeism is a priority.
That's one of our tasks. Why would folks be missing so many days? And then what can we impact regarding those days? What supports? We can provide support around school avoidance. To a degree around family crisis, although it depends. Mental health, certainly to a certain degree. Vacations and a student getting sick, we may not be able to do anything about that. Unless at the high school you use a tool like a policy that says you can't be gone that long. So it is a complex issue, and it's different at the high school and the rest of the district, but we're committed to really trying to, look at the data, unpack the issues, and bring this information forward for more conversation.
For Needham Channel News, I'm Yu Xiaoyuan.